Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the 15th edition of Cinema Effect. How the hell have we done 15 of these? I'm Zach, and I'm joined by my fellow Hans Zimmer appreciator, Jaden.
G'day.
And the other one, Liam.
Hello. The other one, though.
Have you guys had a good week?
Yeah.
I mean, only half of a week.
I'm pretty happy. EPL's back. So, I mean, that's it for me.
Yes.
No more having to watch shitty German soccer. No more Spanish soccer. Proper English soccer's back.
Awesome. Do they, I mean, is there any crowd whatsoever, or is there like a 25% capacity thing, or?
Nah, it's no crowd.
No
Which
crowd.
is unfortunate because, I mean, you know, in soccer, like, a good portion of it is the crowd, you know? The chants, the noise, the boos.
Oh,
I mean,
definitely.
you know. But, you know,
Definitely.
soccer's back. What more can you ask for, really?
True. Are they doing like the piped in crowd noises? Because I know the AFL's been doing that.
Yeah, they are. I'm not sure how I feel about it, though, because, I mean, it just doesn't sound... I mean, like, in the AFL, it sounds alright, but, like, because I was just watching some highlights this morning, because it only returned this morning, but it sounds like they're piping in too much of it. I don't know.
Right.
I guess it just depends on... Because, I mean, like, I'm going to get a bit into it. I mean, like, you can probably cut all this, but EPL is streamed in a lot of different ways. So you've got, like, Optus Sport, and then you've also got, like, each club has, like, you know, their own, like, channel as well where they air their games. And you've got, like, Sky Sports and BBC and, you know, there's a lot of different, you know, studios that broadcast it. So it's depending on the studio how much they pump in with the crowd noise, really. So
Right. Huh. I'm just wondering, like, I wonder if is there just some dude who's just sitting there whenever there's a goal, he just has to turn it up, you know?
no,
And
but that's
try
the
and
thing
make
about
it feel
soccer.
organic?
It's not just at a goal, you know. It's constant where it rises and falls, you know. I mean, like all it takes is for like one player that, like, you know, the crowd really likes to get the ball, and it'll be louder than when they get a goal, you know. I mean,
Yeah. So then, yeah, that just sounds like a pain in the ass to try and control and manage if you're doing it live.
yeah, and it sucks 'cause you can't, like, because, like, you can pipe in crowd noise, but you can't chuck in the chants. And I mean, like, the chants are integral to, you know, European football. So I mean,
Yeah. But hey, like you said, at least it's on.
that was a fun
All
2
right,
minutes.
well, so this is EPL Talk. This is Cinema Effect, the podcast. What do? We review and talk about a different movie every single week. The show posts every Monday. You can find us on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. So subscribe in all those places. Leave nice comments. We appreciate you doing that. Remember to submit your questions in that same comment section. Submit any questions, reviews, whatever you have. We'll read them out. And our question this week is going to be, give us a well-regarded film that you weren't a fan of. What's a film that other people like, or maybe even a franchise, whatever, you know, play fast and loose with the rules. I don't really care. What's a series of films or a film that everyone else seems to like and you're just like, it's all right. Or
Joker.
I don't really like it. Hey, I mean, but I'm outnumbered on that one here, so that's not really a valid answer.
Yeah, probably.
Well, yeah, answer that in the comments. We'll read them at the end of next week's show. So, thanks. This week, we're reviewing Eyes Wide Shut, a Stanley Kubrick movie. And, dude, I'm just, it was a movie, all right? It was a hell of a movie. So, let's get into the data dump for this movie. It opened in the US on the 16th of July 1999. It was directed and written by Stanley Kubrick, with Frederick Raphael also helping with the script. The film stars Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman. And I feel like in previous weeks I've tried to, like, shoehorn in more names into the starring section, but, like, honestly, you know, they're all that really matter in this movie. Movie has a budget of $65 million. Sorry, I just completely discredited every single other actor in this movie. Really apologise for that, but whatever. And it had a worldwide box office of $162 million. Its genre, I mean...
Stanley Kubrick.
Exactly.
Rom-com.
Yeah, exactly. No, I wrote, who knows? Thriller? It's not a thriller, though. It's really not. But that's kind of the closest, maybe.
Yeah. thriller.
Psychological drama. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. No, that's good. I like that. Yeah, okay. Psychological drama. The film has a runtime of 2 hours and 39 minutes, according to IMDb. I swear to God, mine did not run that long. But anyway, whatever. Had a synopsis of, here we go. A New York City doctor embarks on a harrowing, night-long odyssey of sexual and moral discovery after his wife reveals a painful secret to him. That's actually a pretty good synopsis. I like it. Okay. Guys, none of us have seen this movie, right? Yes?
No.
Cool. How did you feel about it, Fitzy?
Well, I actually rewatched it this week. I watched it twice.
Oh, wow.
I watched it first on Sunday, and I thought it was pretty great. But like I was looking into, like I looked at videos and reviews and stuff, trying to kind of figure more out about this, figure out what it's about, what it means and stuff. And I mean, yeah, I came to like understand different like interpretations of the movie and stuff, and I think like it's a very abstract and ambiguous movie in terms of all of that. But yeah, I rewatched it pretty much yesterday and today, and I really love it. Pretty much, I think it's a masterpiece, really. So yeah.
Oh, wow. Hang on.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
are you saying you didn't rewatch it? You didn't watch it 3 times. You're saying that
No,
you rewatched
I
it 3
finished it
times?
today. Yeah.
Got it. Okay, cool.
So
That would be
with
crazy if you watched it 3 times.
with that thing, like, sorry, something I've been meaning to ask you guys. When you come into these sessions, do you come in like with a score predetermined in your mind and you try and argue your point, or are you kind of like open to flexing your score a bit? Because it sounds like Fitzy's pretty dead center in his way, and I feel like traditionally I am, but like I always try and leave myself a bit open for me to go like one or so up or down. It's like how do you guys come into this?
I think I'm like half the time I'm willing to like see where I land on it by the end. And then sometimes if I've like thought about a movie and considered it as much as I think I've considered this, I'm kind of like coming from the position of like, yeah, I'm gonna argue for a certain score or a certain, take on the movie, I think.
Right. No, I mean, I watch the movie, I have an opinion of it, and I just come in and chat about it, and then if my mind's changed, then it is, and if it isn't, it isn't. That's really all I think about. Good question, though. Hadn't thought about that. Well, I'm glad that you had the chance to kind of really delve deep into this movie over the last week, Fitzy, because I feel like I'm going to need your help, which is great. Jane, how do you feel?
I really enjoyed it as well. The first half hour kind of sucked ass for me personally. I just found it a bit boring.
I agree, yeah.
But after that, it picks up. I think I think whenever Tom Cruise is alone and when like he's exploring and wandering and doing his own stuff is when the film's at its strongest. I don't really love the scenes with Nicole Kidman too much. But yeah, no, I really did like it.
Yeah, cool. I really liked it too. I didn't love it. And at the end of the day, I was a little bit, I don't want to say underwhelmed, but by the ending or anything like that. But I don't know, the story overall and the ending didn't really satisfy me in any way. But nonetheless, I was entertained throughout. I enjoyed it. Didn't really feel like it went that long. Definitely has really memorable aspects to it. But yeah, I'm kind of in two minds about the story at the same time, so I look forward to getting to those as well. I definitely agree with you, Jane, about the start is a bit slow. Yeah, and yeah,
Like that.
yeah. I've got some little nitpicks and things.
Yeah, like I think like the first 10 minutes are alright, but then like when they kind of go back and they have their little discussion, then like I mean, like I get it's just its development is important for the story, but like it just didn't feel. I don't know. It just wasn't engaging in the way that they had their little bickering fight, whatever it was.
Yeah. That entire sequence, well, it's not a scene. That scene, yeah, it didn't really work for me. I felt like it went on for way too long, and I feel like Nicole Kidman's really bad in this movie.
I hate her American accent.
yeah, that's not good. But yeah, just generally her performance is not very good. At least I don't think it is. But yeah, her accent, yeah, absolutely, good point. Yeah, Fitzy, like, so how'd you feel about it after the first time watching it, and then from there, how did the rewatching and the delving into trying to understand the movie and all that, how did that kind of improve or change your opinion?
Well, like the first time I watched it, I thought it was pretty great. I mean, it's great visually. A ton of interesting stuff are happening, but like, I don't know. I guess it just left me a bit confused, really, or confounded by how it all came together or whatever. But I guess just looking into all the different interpretations of this film and like the lenses you can look it through, like you can look at it as a kind of sociological study or like about, or you can look at it about the subconscious, about dreams and our primal desires, and there's like the scope of this film is like really is really large, I guess, and I guess I just there's also just like details in the film that you can just kind of go into that as well, as opposed to like big stuff, but um yeah well, what did you guys, I guess, like, feel about it, or what was your like basic interpretation, I guess, because I'm interested to hear that.
So I'm just making sure she's done. Yeah. Okay. I feel like, I don't know. I kind of definitely saw a lot of the primal urge stuff in there. I feel like that's pretty base, surface level stuff, though. Like, don't know how much real interpretation it takes to see that kind of thing. But yeah, I don't know. I guess broadly speaking, I think the movie is sort of about this dude and the journey. The synopsis called it an odyssey, which is interesting, but what he kind of goes through in the, like, 24 hours or a few days or whatever, to kind of, I guess, reconnect with his wife and tackle those primal urges you were talking about and his temptations, and kind of get that, I don't know, that kind of side of him, or that aspect of him, or that subconscious aspect of all of us that is tempted to be unfaithful or is tempted to do something that we know we shouldn't or anything like that, and kind of get it out of his system, I guess. That's I do think that interpretation is quite literal, but it's kind of what I got the most out of it watching it. Yeah.
I always dread talking about like good films because I'm always scared I'm going to say some stupid shit and like I'm completely wrong. But like,
Nah, man.
I feel like perhaps not like a main comment, but I feel like there was a fair few like ideas about control and class and how, you know, the class controls, the above class controls the lower one. And I feel like, like Tom Cruise's Odyssey is not like, yeah, it's driven by, that primal desire, whatever. But it's also about like kind of him losing control of his relationship and like the potential that, he could have lost, what he could have lost there, and then it's kind of him trying to reestablish that.
Oh, okay.
And
Okay,
then he kind of loses it again once he goes to the cult. Do we call it a cult? Is that what it was? I'm pretty sure it was. I mean,
that's the first word that popped into my head. So. Dude, that entire cult sequence was awesome. It was amazing. My jaw was on the floor.
yeah, I fucking like when I was watching it, I was thinking about like like when he first walks in and like they're in the circle and the dude's chanting. When like I was gonna make a joke about how this is just Orthodox mass, and then when I was reading trivia about the fact, like I read that like the dude's chanting was actually like Romanian Orthodox chanting, just like played in reverse, and I was like, ha.
Oh, that's awesome. That chanting was wild. I mean, yeah. Let's talk. Let's talk about it now, because that scene was awesome. The piano was terrifying. It popped up like 4 times, and every time, dude, I'm like, Jesus, nightmares tonight. And yeah, the chanting and the visuals there were just like kind of mesmerizing to me. Like all the shots of just I mean, basically everything in there, but particularly like shots that stuck with me were just simple ones like I think just a close up on Tom Cruise's like masked face. Like it
Right.
kind of caught me off guard. I've got no idea why it was so entrancing, but it just was like as a
Yeah,
visual and him nodding to the higher up dude.
yeah,
That was crazy. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I feel like the composition in this film is just amazing. Like, I'm pretty sure. I think I read something about like how Kubrick took his technique of like natural lighting from Barry Lyndon and kind of applied it to this film, and you can kind of see how that just like there's just like every scene is kind of naturally lit so beautifully. And I mean, Kubrick just
Right.
has that eye for composition. He used to be like I think he started off as a photographer, or that was one of his jobs. And I mean, yeah, you can see that in the film. But yeah, in terms of the interpretations that you guys gave, that's kind of where I come from it as well. Like he he realizes this thing about his wife, and then he kind of goes into this like dreamscape journey where he's like kind of confronting or exploring his prime desires. But like if you think about the night, how it starts with just the daughter of one of his patients who he does the house call with, and then he kind of has an encounter there, and then the prostitute, and then the cult. It kind of like spirals out of control. And I mean, if you think about it, it's kind of the way like dreams can spiral out of control, and it's kind of like the whole film is kind of shot in this dreamy, like seamless kind of way, especially with the transitions and the slow pace and stuff. But you can kind of think about it all originating from like his wife and his like inability to speak about these things. His ideas about his wife's sexual desire basically turn into a whole blown conspiracy, and basically it's kind of like a nightmare about the subconscious, and all originating from like the ability or inability for these guys not to trust or talk to each other about these things. And so yeah, I feel like it's kind of about that in a way, about like I think it's about a lot of things, but one of the things that I think it's about is like being able to bring the subconscious to the conscious. Not it's against repression, and repression and dreams kind of go hand in hand in this film. So I don't know. I guess that's kind of similar to how you guys see it, but I think there's a ton of other stuff as well. Like as Jaden said, there's a lot about like class in here. Like Bill constantly gets pulled over by Ziegler, just as the piano guy does, and Ziegler is like basically getting pulled over by the elite because to take care of the situation. So it's kind of like the lower class always doing stuff for the upper class, and there's tons of like sociological stuff in here as well. There's also a hint that the movie might be talking about that, because in Domino's house, the first prostitute he sees there's like a book on the shelf introducing sociology, and it could also be saying that like by night she's like this prostitute doing these things, and that could be in terms of class, and also but in terms of like prime desire, but at day she's like just a college student. I mean, yeah, but yeah, I don't know where I started this, but I was just saying that, yeah, my interpretation, it's pretty similar to you guys, I think. But yeah, there's a ton of ways to view it, I guess.
Yeah. Well, that all sounds absolutely accurate, and crazy that it's awesome that you provided that to us, I think. But you mentioned, I am interested in the kind of the control aspect and the classism aspect of the nameless elite, these people in the masks and their crazy cult, and them doing whatever it takes to seemingly protect it and hide it or whatever. You mentioned how that's kind of plays into the film's themes, and Jane, you mentioned too how that kind of seeps into the relationship. I guess I just don't. I want to try and explore that a bit more, just because, like, obviously, literally, what happens in the movie is these these crazy elite cultists try and protect themselves and get other people to do their bidding and so on. And yeah, like you said, it goes down to the piano dude and everything. But outside of that, what literally occurs to the characters in that way, do you think that the control stuff, how does it link to the romantic aspect of the movie, and does it link to Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman's relationship? You kind of mentioned how you thought it did, Jaden, but am I doing justice to what you're trying to say, or?
Yeah. When you say Nicole Kidman and Tom Cruise's relationship, do you mean like their character? Do you mean like the actual IRL relationship? Because I completely forgot they were married at the time of like making this, and then until I was reading about it, I was like, oh yeah.
Well, I mean, considering how it ended, probably both.
Yeah. I've forgotten what you asked already. Sorry. Controlling the relationship, is that something like that?
Yeah. Well, you did mention how that kind of linked to it. You thought. Am I right? I don't know.
Yeah. No.
That's what you said.
So like it's. No, yeah, like I said before, I dread talking about this shit because I'm poor at wording my arguments. 50, do you want to take over then? And like, while I think about something, I'll pop in a bit later.
So wait, the question was like, how does the power stuff kind of relate to the relationship, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think it does? Yeah. Do you think it extends just beyond what actually happens with the cultist people?
Well, like from my perspective, I think if you kind of view it as Tom Cruise going on this, like having this discovery and going on this like, dream odyssey kind of thing, he's confronting both like the primal and the like the real, like in terms of like class and distinction and stuff. Like, he always like tells people he's a doctor and shows you like ID to get access to places and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I could make a like direct link. I think this film requires a lot of thinking, I guess. I don't know if I have it all figured out, but I don't know. It just kind of makes sense to me in the terms of like he's going on this kind of he's discovering all these terrible, or I don't know, just these normal, well, not normal, but like these things, I guess. Whether they're like internal or external, he's kind of like, I don't know, confronting something, but yeah,
I know what you mean. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know if to my question, don't even think there's a definitive answer necessarily, but I get what you mean. The point of him constantly showing his ID and telling everyone and their mum that he's a doctor, yeah, I think that totally links into it somehow. How? I'm probably not smart enough to figure it out, but that definitely relates, yeah.
I think control does seep into their relationship. I think it is kind of like the driving factor that like starts his night long discovery. Because while as much as it is his curiosity and his amazement at his wife's confession, I still feel like it's. I mean, especially because those little visions he's having of him, of her and the sailor. I feel like it is him trying to. I feel like there is a comment on controlling. I'm just not sure how significant it is because I don't think he's entirely controlling of the relationship. I think that seems rather healthy, I guess. But I think the first half hour kind of gives you your glimpses into it, because where he's talking about how the girls were just him just mucking around, but then his wife dancing with the Austrian dude, he didn't like that and shit like that.
Right.
I think it's minor stuff like that. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And then the fact of the prospect to him that she had even considered leaving him kind of shatters him in a way that it clearly wouldn't shatter her,
Yeah, I mean, that's emasculating as fuck. I mean, imagine telling your husband, there's this other hot dude, and I thought about risking it all just for him. I mean, that's.
Yeah. I think the film also explores like masculinity and gender roles, and like the first questions that each character asks, Bill asks like, "Where's my wallet?" and Alice asked, "How do I look?" And like also at the party, there's an interaction between Ziegler and his wife, and Bill and Alice, and Bill is talking to the guy about some other doctor and how he's like well paid, and then the two wives say to each other like how good they look or how good their dresses look. So I think like the money or the status class, whatever aspect of it is kind of plays into Bill's like insecurities in the film, and part of his kind of identity that he puts forth, like and especially like later in the film, there's this scene where Alice is teaching their kid about like she's teaching her a math problem about money. It's like this boy is $2.50, this boy is $1.75, and it's kind of like the film might be saying that like one of the big things in marriage or relationships is like the man and money and stuff like that. And I don't know, I feel like that kind of plays into it a lot in the movie. But
yeah, those are some great examples. I'm just going to ask it, what was up with the mask lying in the bed?
Yeah, I feel like that's like Bill's secrets, so like exposed, or Bill's like subconscious is like exposed to his wife. Maybe I don't know. That's kind of how I felt about it. Or like
that makes sense.
Maybe the other way around, but yeah. There's a lot of like storytelling for color as well. Like there's red. Like most of the scenes with like like the cult scene is like draped in red, and then like normal like reality, like their home is like blue, draped in blue, and I thought that was like that's interesting. And like when Bill comes home for I think after he's trying to discover what happened, like I think it's the second time, and the whole house is in blue, but the Christmas tree is like all colorful and stuff, like representing like maybe sex and his primal urges and like power and stuff like that. And he turns the Christmas light off, the Christmas tree off, and it's all blue before he confesses to Alice in a like blue filled room. So it's kind of like I feel like there's a lot of that going on as well.
Yeah.
Talking about the Christmas tree, is this your favorite Christmas movie?
Probably.
Wow.
Better than Die Hard?
Die Hard, yeah, probably.
That's great. Yeah.
Yeah, God, I love watching Eyes Wide Shut with my family on December 24th.
Oh, dude, just crowd around Christmas Eve, get snuggling on the couch, Oh, God. The weird thing is, though, is that, I don't know, like, obviously, this film's got, very much centered on sex and got a shitload of nudity in it, but there aren't actually really many sex scenes in it really at all, right? I'm not misremembering. There are those, like, dreams that he has that are pretty brief.
Yeah,
and cult orgy, and that's it.
Cult orgy, of course. How could I forget? Okay. Cult orgy was great, though.
Do you reckon the orgy in this inspired the orgy in Westworld?
Maybe. Yeah, they are pretty similar too.
Wait, what was that in Westworld?
In season 1, it's kind of like when that dude's showing young Will around the park, and he's showing him all that can be offered in the outer reaches and shit.
Yeah, that's right.
I feel like they're kind of similar in thematically as well, I guess. I mean, you can probably draw comparisons.
Yeah, I agree.
You were saying there wasn't much sex scenes in the film, and the nudity that is shown is kind of like shown very plainly or like unerotically.
Definitely, yeah.
Because like critics and people thought this was going to be some kind of erotic thriller going in, and it kind of just...
That's what I thought.
Right, and it kind of like the bodies are displayed in a kind of such a simple like commercial kind of way,
Definitely, yeah.
I saw a comment about how like Kubrick, like about something how this like Kubrick's most humanitarian, like humanish film. I can't remember the word they used, but like it's about how Kubrick always tries to like, he tries to always boil down his character to show that they are human, they are people. And I think like the example they used was Nicole Kidman, because although she's, beautiful and perfect and whatever, at the start of the film they still show her, in the bathroom on the toilet, whatever, and like kind of still reduces her to that everyday thing. And I feel like that's kind of how everything's treated in this film, because like while these are amazing people, for really good looking people,
Right.
like they're never glorified to the extent that like
Yeah.
what most film nudity is. They're just shown plainly as people.
Yeah. Yeah. It pretty much like shows everyone like as animals, pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, even if you think of some of his other films, they I don't know, they kind of like that in a way. I mean, 2001 drawing comparisons to apes and humans, I guess, but definitely in this film, I see what you're saying.
I think one aspect of the movie that is both a pro and a con at the same time for me is the fact that the movie, as we get introduced to the cult stuff, is super creepy. And the scene where Tom Cruise is being stalked by some guy on the street, and that goddamn piano every time, when he drives back to the mansion, obviously in the mansion itself, and moments afterwards, creeped me the hell out. And I thought it was really effective in that way. But at the same time, I do think that I guess by definition, it is the climactic scene of the movie where we get Ziegler telling Tom Cruise the truth about everything, and that the cult thing was like kind of staged or whatever. And I don't know, like it kind of in a moment just took away, I thought, what was so effective about the stuff earlier in the movie, where it's like, oh, okay, he just kind of revealed it all super like, oh, yeah, by the way, that was all fake, and you were never actually really in danger that much. We were just trying to scare you.
But
Like,
was that
oh,
just
okay.
lies? I mean, because like that's kind of how I wanted it. Because I was underwhelmed with that as well. So I kind of just imagined it as more lies.
That would be cool. That would be cool.
Yeah, I think it makes sense that he did just tell the truth flat out. And I mean, like the explanation for what was it? Well, Mandy, was that the name of the chick that
Yeah.
died? I mean, like it's reasonable, but like it does remove some of the magic.
Yeah, definitely. I just don't like. I don't like that scene at all. Because the thought did come into my mind too. That is he just bullshitting? But I feel like the movie doesn't do a good enough job of really driving it home that this dude, like, do you believe him or do you not? It's like, I don't know. I feel like just watching the scene by itself, it very much just, you just kind of believe him. Like, okay, there's like, what reason have I got to kind of doubt you right now? I didn't really feel there was anything. There's no like sinister underlying motive to him, or anything at all in the scene that suggested that he was being more elusive, which would have been quite interesting.
Like to me, that I don't know, that scene. I feel like it's good because it's like a contrast to the huge, like, because whole the whole cult stuff is like a big fantasy and it's like out of this world kind of, and then the billiard explaining scene is kind of reality and kind of just normal. So it kind of, I feel like in that
Right.
it works that way because you can split this movie into two between um you know the whole the whole sexual stuff that happens in the first half, and then Bill trying to uncover it and like not finding anything, not being able to get anywhere in the second. And that's kind of the epitome of that in a way.
Mm.
Yeah, but yeah, I didn't. Well, I didn't really feel. I didn't know whether or not to believe him in that scene personally.
Okay.
Kind of, I don't know.
The fact that he said that that he said that if I was to tell you the names of those people in the room, you'd shit yourself. Whatever he said. I mean, the fact that he led with that and then he tried to, he's like, oh, it was all fake and whatever, and like it was kind of that made me doubt how truthful it was, because like, I mean, because like, I feel like there's kind of common, like these people that are so elite, so powerful that like nothing can touch them because they just have that much money. So like that's why I kind of, so I feel like if they wanted to kill that, if they wanted to kill Mandy, they easily could have had it done, and they just could have like bought it off or whatever. So like that's why I kind of say like, yeah, there's possibility he was lying and that, you know, it was just to
Oh,
cool
yeah.
his nerves and shit.
Right. I'm pretty sure Mandy.
Yeah.
Mandy was the girl at the the bathroom scene at the start at the
Yeah,
dinner.
Yeah,
yeah,
true, yeah.
and that's why
Right.
she saved. That's why she's like told him to get away because she recognized him.
Yeah.
Right. And I like how, like, if you view the like cult scene as kind of a culmination of like using power, and like primal urges and all this, like outside of marriage, it kind of like Mandy's deaf. Mandy's a redhead, and there are a lot of redheads in the film which kind of mirror Nicole Kidman. And if you kind of think of Mandy's deaf, it's kind of like a warning, like if you give to these desires, if you like I don't know, like give into your power in terms of what society gives you and like your internal urges in terms of like sex and stuff, then you kind of lose the wife, like how Mandy died, or you lose like the relationship or whatever. So I like that part of it.
Did you say redheads mirror Nicole Kidman?
Like most of the redheads, they look very similar. Like there's like 3 or 4, I think, or 2 or 3. They kind of they're slender, tall redheads.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a couple of them, and yeah, just in that way, I guess.
That's why.
Wait,
That's why
hang on.
like they're connecting like Kidman's dream and like the cult sequence, like because like they're kind of connecting like the fact that like a lot of those women they did like have a similar body shape to what Kidman does, and like it's like I think like Cruz in his mind is kind of placing her in that scene as well, and that's why
Yeah.
stressed by it and stuff like that.
It's kind of like a subconscious mirroring as well. Like it's kind of like it's like it's seeking Nicole Kidman subconsciously in a way.
See, that's cool and all, but I feel like dumbass number one over here. You're telling me Nicole Kidman has got red hair? What?
It's kind of like a strawberry blonde, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is it? I guess so. Huh. I've never thought about that in my life.
No, I think like
always...
not in real life, but I think in the movie they kind of went for that kind of tinge. I'm pretty sure she's just like blonde straight up, but
Okay.
She just looked... Wow, she just looked blonde straight up to me. Huh. Okay. No, but I guess you're right. I can see it. I mean, I can imagine. I'm not looking.
That's
okay.
like because like that's what something I know. Like when like he meets Domino, like I think even like there is some resemblance there. And I think when most of the people at the house, when the chicks had their masks on, you could kind of say, oh yeah, maybe Kidman.
That was a thought that popped into my head, but it didn't last long. Yeah. I mean, still on. I don't know. I don't like that Ziegler scene much, and another aspect as to why is just I think he goes for ages and he spends ages explaining shit that I feel like the audience at that point had already put together. I mean, especially the Mandy thing. He's kind of takes the long way around, finally getting it. Finally saying, "Oh yeah, that person at the party was Mandy. Sorry, the cult member meeting, whatever, was Mandy, and she sacrificed herself, and she was the woman here the other night. Remember that you saved her? Remember?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I remember. Like, didn't we? We had the scene where he goes to the morgue earlier, and weren't you meant to put it together then?" It was just kind of weird that I feel like we got it explained to us twice.
Something like I know it's not really like to do with that scene too much, but like it's kind of meta in the way that the guy that Kubrick cast in that scene was a director. And like it kind of like in that scene, it kind of feels like it's a director explaining
it actually does.
to his actor, to his cast, what happened, and like that's something that like something I really liked about the scene. I'm not sure if I mean it's Kubrick, so I'm sure it was intentional, but I mean like it's something that I thought was something that I liked about it.
Huh, that's really interesting. It really was like that, actually. Yeah, I don't know. That actually that's a really good way of describing what it did feel like watching it, and that's why I kind of didn't really like it. It just kind of felt super out of place, and like, yeah, this dude was kind of just explaining the plot to me. Like, I know.
I think that's kind of where like control comes into it as well. Like at like probably one of the best moments where like it is a director controlling his actor, and like it is because like it's shown that Ziegler has more money than Bill throughout the film, so it's kind of but once again that upper class. I mean, even though there's still Bill's rich as fuck and he's wealthy as, it's still that upper class controlling what is below him.
And it's kind of like it's ironic that Bill's upper class because he kind of just develops a sustain for the upper class in this film in a way, like, or he becomes scared of them at least.
Yeah.
Or he learns like the kind of corruption they can have, or the the power they actually hold in society. And like when he goes to Domino's house or apartment, I guess, he kind of sees what it's like on for a lower class person. Like he says, the place is cozy, and he's like a really weak compliment kind of thing. So yeah.
Definitely. I mean, we've touched on, I think every kind of encounter, I guess, is a fine way.
We haven't talked about the Russian dude yet at the dress shop.
All right.
That's literally what I was about to say. Yeah, except
sorry.
that one. Yeah. That was a weird inclusion, and the stuff with the daughter and the like 2 old Asian dudes. Like, do we have a read on that? Because I don't. I thought it was weird.
I think it's on to. Fitzy, do you want to take that?
Guide us, Fitzy.
Yeah, I don't know if that one says anything that is especially unique. I mean, it's kind of like the things we've been already talking about, like you got the prostitution angle and the power angle in terms of like she's her dad, I guess, but he's her dad. I don't know, but yeah, I don't think there's much that I can think about right now.
I sort of think about how like Cruz looks at the girl, because like he kind of thinks about his own daughter, who's like only a few years off that age, and how like his daughter's kind of like the pure like piece of the film, the kind of pure grounding, and it kind of shows that she's only a few years away from corruption or whatever.
Yeah, and some people say that at the end, you see Cruz and Bill and Alice talk to each other for like a minute or two, and they're ignoring their daughter. And just before that, the daughter walks away with 2 guys, and those 2 guys were at the party at the start. They're in the background; you can see them, and it's kind of like plays into like the corruption of innocence kind of thing. And that could
That's
be
cool.
Or like it. I wanted to bring the scene up though. Like the Russian dude. You haven't seen Snatch yet, Finny, have you?
No,
and Fitty, you haven't seen it either.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Oh, you have seen Snatch?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, well, the Russian dude in this also plays Boris the Blade in Snatch, and, like, that's all I could think about. So it's like, when he's there calling his daughter a little whore and, like, swearing at the Asian dude and whatever, like, all I could think about was him in that film. And so, like, when, like, that first night scene, was that meant to be kind of comedic or not? I couldn't tell, because, like, I'm not sure if that was just my mind going to, oh, it's Boris the Blade, and he's having a bit of a laugh. Or if it was actually like
yeah, I thought it was a bit comedic. It was kind of it was just odd, yeah.
Yeah, right.
I mean,
because it's that stereotypical Russian thing is like, because like I'm not sure, I haven't heard the actor speak in real life, but like the accent that he employs in both this and Snatch is that it's so stereotypically Eastern European. Like it's a thing that you see in like parody like memes and like just like in actual videos of like Russians just trying to speak English and being dickheads or whatever. So like it just made it so funny to like yeah,
and there's people talk about the doubling or the mirroring in this film, like because it's like kind of dreamlike, and you've got him, the Eastern European, but you also got the one at the start, the one that like talks to Alice at the start.
Yeah,
and there's a lot of doubles as well, like the 2 girls. And then the 2 people, the 2 prostitutes, and like there's a lot of that kind of stuff.
That's kind of all just to enhance like that dream sequence type thing. Is that right?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm sure the inclusion of the like the 2 Asian dudes, like it's such a specific thing that stands out as quite bizarre. I'm sure there was something very thoughtful put into that. I've got no idea what it was.
Maybe it's just like Kubrick's fear of China,
Sure, yeah.
I mean, I think it kind of lends itself into like that racist stereotype of like like the Japanese businessman type shit, Like, do you know the stereotype I'm talking about? Like they like to be. Whatever. I mean, I feel uncomfortable saying it because it's kind of pretty.
It's fine.
I mean, it's pretty racist. So like that's why I like but like
it's shit, bro. Just say it.
Like the stereotype I'm talking about, how like the raunchy Japanese businessmen off hours and type shit like that type of thing. Like I kind of feel like that's kind of why it was used. I don't know. I mean, like, that's not why it was used, but it lent so heavily into that, you know? And, like, I feel like, you know,
Yeah. But that does still by itself feel random in the movie, though. A little bit.
nothing's random from Kubrick, though, I mean.
Okay.
Does that mean everything's random? And therefore makes nothing random?
Who knows?
That's weird. That's cool. All right. Trivia time. I think this is a good transition to some of my criticisms too. Stanley Kubrick died just 4 days after presenting Warner Brothers with what was reported to be the final cut of the film after a legendarily long shoot. Legendarily, it's not. I don't really like that word, to be honest. But anyway, his friends and family, as well as the cast and crew of the film, all claim that Kubrick's death was completely unexpected and that he never seemed to be in poor health while making the film. Obviously, that's pretty trash. But watching the movie, because I was aware that he died before its release, I was kind of thinking to myself, did someone else finish this edit? Because I've never seen another Kubrick movie in my life, so maybe he has got a distinct kind of editing style that I'm not aware of or something. But I thought the film's editing was really clunky and took me out of the movie on multiple occasions in a really bad way, where often there's the movie's full of long conversations with just kind of that stick with what am I trying to say? With few cuts. There's just typically stick with an angle or two and we roll with that for like 10 minutes. And then there's a few occasions where the movie just, for no reason, like mid-sentence, completely changes angles. And it just leaves me with what the hell just happened. Like, it looks like they're trying to cut around something bizarre. Maybe, hey, super genius level, maybe that I don't understand. Nonetheless, it took me out of the movie and it was kind of obnoxious. Another one was the hilarious zoom in when well, Mandy was at the cultist thing, and it was super bizarre because that whole cultist vibe was so strong, that entire sequence, and the zoom in stop, it was just terrible. But yeah, I don't know.
I actually quite liked that. Like,
Did you? Why?
It was kind of reminiscent of like that whole, you know, the stop and the zoom in. It kind of feels reminiscent of like older films of like the 50s and 60s type of thing. It's like that, and like I don't know, like that's kind of like the feeling I got from it. And that's why I was like, oh yeah, I appreciate that. I don't know.
Yeah,
The
I mean,
sorry.
that's no, sorry, Fizzy. Yeah, that's fine by itself, but where it is, it just nonetheless kind of derails everything that's happening and the vibe that you're building, you know, in that scene.
Well, I didn't really feel that.
Okay.
I feel like the cuts are really good in this movie, really intentional. They usually fades, and the film kind of feels like you go from situation to situation. But I think it's all for the intention of like making it feel like seamless and like a dream. And I mean, that's kind of the feeling the movie gives me. So, I mean, from that perspective, I think I really like the editing, I guess.
I think sorry.
Yeah.
I think the cut. So like the Kubrick presented a cut that was finished, but I think what I read was that like the film score wasn't complete, and there was like some other minor details that they add in. So there probably was. I mean, there probably was touched up a bit after his death, just like smoothing it out, you know, to fit some other stuff.
Right. Well, yeah. Also, people say that there was like 24 minutes cut or something, 26 minutes.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure if he approved of that, or I'm not sure if it was after or before his death, but that might, I don't know. Yeah.
Right. I mean, I actually, with what you're talking about, the film kind of through its editing, kind of presenting this dreamlike state and depicting it to the audience, like I totally get what you mean, and I think it generally. I think it's obvious that's what's trying to happen. There's a shitload of really long fades, which I think it's cool. It's a cool choice. And generally, I really do like how long the takes are, how little the film, you know, cuts to a different. It does feel very deliberate, like you were saying. Of when we cut to a different angle, it feels right. You know, most of the time, you know, there's very little. There's essentially no quick cutting whatsoever. It does feel like you're kind of settling into a slow groove, like a dream. I get that, but nonetheless, when there is, I think it happens probably 5 times, when there is a really egregious cut, it just completely, for me, disrupts the flow of everything else that you're trying to achieve in the edit, and then thus kind of derails the experience for me. Like, if my reaction, I guess, if I'm watching this movie and my mind, by what happens, jumps to editor Zach, and I go, that was just weird, then I feel like that's a failure. If you're taking me out of the movie to think like an editor because of something I just saw, then I don't know. I feel like that's kind of bad in my opinion.
Okay, so you're just saying you didn't. I don't know. It didn't work for you, I guess.
No, I didn't. Yeah, no. I'm just saying it took me out of the movie, and thus is not good for me. Yes,
Okay.
correct. I've got more trivia for you. The film is notoriously known for its secrecy during production and the secrecy even divided the two main stars, Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman, to exaggerate the distrust between their fictional husband and wife. Director Stanley Kubrick would direct each actor separately and forbid them from sharing notes. In one painful example, for just 1 minute of final footage where Alice makes love to a handsome naval officer that keeps haunting Tom Cruise in the movie. It's an imaginary affair that haunts Bill. I love how I jumped in there for a bit of editorializing myself, and then the sentence proceeded to say it anyway. God damn it. Anyway, it took 6 days of Kidman shooting scenes naked for that particular flashback, or dream sequence. And yeah, it turned out to only be about 1 minute in the final cut. Wow, Kubrick's he's just sadistic, isn't he? Just like tearing apart relationships.
Yeah,
Well, I
pretty
mean,
much.
he's notorious for being pretty harsh. I mean, the whole thing about Shelley Duvall and the stairs sequence in Shining, whatever, and redoing it how many times? 150, whatever it was.
Yeah.
But that's just him, and I think it pays off in the end. I mean, the deliberation that he in his craftsmanship and in the final product is just phenomenal. With the masks in this film, every mask feels so deliberately chosen, and it just feels perfect in the way that each one fills the shot, and the way that each one, because the way that they're placed together, and in the way they're grouped with each other. I mean, I'm not sure if the masks were meant to represent emotions or feelings of the people or anything like that, but it just feels so.
No, absolutely. The masks are an awesome touch. Yeah, they're awesome. 100%.
Isn't this the longest shoot ever as well? 400 days?
God damn it, Fitzy. I haven't said trivia. You do trivia, is that true?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's in the Guinness.
That's crazy.
Or at least it was, for being the longest take ever, 400 days or something. But yeah, Tom Cruise was held back from Mission Impossible 2, pretty much. So he was basically just keeping him hostage for 400 days in England. It was all shot in England. Kubrick didn't want to leave. He didn't want to go to the United States.
Don't steal my thunder, bro. Due to Stanley Kubrick's fear of travel, virtually the entire film was shot in Dude, I'm having a stroke today, but I mean, I have a stroke every week, so.
That's why we're doing the trivia for you.
Oh, dude, I hate this shit. Yeah, so what am I trying to say? He built elaborate street sets at Pinewood Studios. They were used for all the scenes where Tom Cruise is walking around New York City, which happens a fair bit of the time. I bring this up because I definitely noticed this. It was kind of obvious that they were sets. They were really good sets, I'll give you that. Yeah, so no, that's kind of a cool little fun fact. It's kind of funny that they went to all that effort just because he's a bit of a pussy when it comes to travel, so...
Mate, he's fucking terrified of flying.
I mean, I don't know what else to say. He's a bit of a pussy, no?
Nah.
You can't say
You
that.
don't describe him as a bit of a pussy.
I mean, why not?
I mean, that's just disrespectful to one of the greatest directors. I mean,
respect, mate.
Wow.
I think if anything, it shows. Nah, I was gonna say it shows he's a better director, but not. I mean, better director would go on location, but
yeah. Well, I feel that could be just the sole reason, but also the off-kilter version of New York and this super narrow streets and everything just feeling weird is kind of lends itself to the whole dreamy feel.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I mean, I feel like I doubt that was intentionally why that came about. I'm sure the travel reason is literally it. But you're right, though. Nonetheless, it does unintentionally add something to the movie.
Oh, I don't know. I reckon it was probably intentional. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. I don't know. I don't want to give him too much credit. Okay.
I think, but like honestly, you probably do have to. I mean, like he was just that meticulous. Maybe there's a bit of meta in like Kubrick's desire for control is reflected in Bill's control.
Mm.
I got one last bit of trivia for you. I threw this one in for you, Fitzy. Paul Thomas Anderson made a visit to the set where he offered Tom Cruise the role of Frank T.J. Mackey in Magnolia.
I feel like both films kind of point fun at Tom Cruise in a way. Like this kind of dismantles his his perception of like the upstanding hero in at the time. I mean, Nicole Kidman and Tom Cruise were like the biggest couple on earth at that point, pretty much. And I mean, he was known for Mission Impossible at least and all his those kind of like heroic roles. And it's kind of like I mean, kind of I don't know, deconstructed him a bit or kind of poked fun of him in a way. But also Magnolia, it's kind of like he plays this cult leader kind of guy, and
Scientology and shit.
Yeah, both films about cults and he's in Scientology and all that.
Is he still part of the Scientology? Because I don't know recently like he got out of it, but I feel like he's probably still in it.
No, I think he's still in it.
Still in it.
He's probably still in it. I don't know.
I think his wife or daughter pulled out or something. I think there's a story about that. I don't know. He was married to who's the Rachel in the first
Rachel, Katie Holmes.
Katie Holmes, yeah.
Oh yeah.
But yeah.
How do we feel about Tom Cruise in the movie? Because I thought he was awesome, and I kind of had this epiphany, I want to say maybe an hour and a half into the movie, that I realised I was watching Tom Cruise, and I kind of had completely forgotten that I was watching Tom Cruise act.
I knew I was watching Tom Cruise because of his fucking laugh. No, I think it is. Like from what I've seen, because like I haven't seen Magnolia yet, so I don't know about his other performances. But like from the performance I've seen, this one is a standout because it is that bit different. I say bit, I mean it is really different to fucking Ethan Hunt.
Yeah, and I feel like not. I feel like this is more probably what he's like. Not entirely, but probably it's a bit more true to what Tom Cruise might be like in real life in a way. I mean, it is just more realistic. I don't know. It's just kind of like he's this important individual, and he kind of I don't know. He kind of he handles everything this kind of suave manner that's not like over exaggerated like it is in whatever Impossible or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I think he's great in this film, obviously. And I think like the 400-day shooting, like they just look exhausted. Like especially like if you look at that the weed scene where they're like arguing. I mean, Nicole Kidman speaks like 6 words. I mean, 6 seconds per word, pretty much. Is like they're so slow with their words. It kind of
isn't that just meant to be the effect of the drug?
Yeah, but also like it's in you can see it in other scenes as well. They just talk super slow, and because I mean, Kubrick making them do all these takes and stuff and keeping them hostage in England and stuff. Tired them out. But I think it helps the dream aesthetic. So yeah, I like their acting in the film.
You like their acting because I mean I thought Nicole Kidman was really bad.
I didn't think she was really bad, but I thought it wasn't the best. I mean, like I think the action took me out of it a lot, but I think she was still fine. I mean, like really, like Tom Cruise is the only star. Like Kidman's role is rather relatively. I mean, like it's not a massive role. I mean, she's there for
definitely
the first half hour just chatting, but then once he goes on his night-long crusade, she only pops up, like 3 times really.
Right.
Yeah, you're right.
I feel like
she's definitely not major.
I feel like they're like playing a role. They're like playing a role in the film. their characters feel like they're fulfilling a kind of their kind of class and role. So it kind of feels like they're acting in a way. I don't know. That's just how I felt about Kidman, especially.
Yeah.
Like it feels like their characters are acting.
Yeah. I get what you mean, but I also feel like that could be kind of an excuse for just bad acting.
Yeah.
I don't fully disagree with you, but I totally get what you mean.
Right.
But yeah, no, I mean, she dances with that French dude for 50 years. It
Austrian.
felt like, dude, that scene would not end. Holy shit! And
Mm.
oh yeah, and I just thought her dialogue delivery was awful. And to be fair, held hostage by this crazy pussy of a man, for so long, 400 days apparently. Fair enough. I'd probably give a terrible performance as well.
I just thought that
because
was
of course
her being
I am normally a better actor than her. What was that, Jack?
I thought her delivery in that scene was just her being flirtatious and kind of she was playing to what the guy wanted, because he kind of wanted her to be that weak, type of just kind of floundering,
so over the top.
take me type person.
Yeah, I guess.
But I feel like she's pretending to be like she's acting, like a character's acting, but yeah.
Yeah, but it was just I get what you mean, but it was so over the top that if I were in that dude's position and another human being was acting like that in front of me, I'd just be like, dude, what drugs are you on? How is this? Yeah, I get what you mean, but no, it didn't really work for me at all.
I mean, she served 3 glasses of champagne. Maybe she was just drunk.
The vibe didn't work for me. I'll say that much.
Okay, I can see what you're saying there.
What do you guys got, Ethan?
I just love how the call leader says, "You will kindly take off your mask." I just love that how he says that.
Well, yeah, I kind of my final comments kind of with the cult as well. I mean, in the fact that it's handled so well, but I also feel like I'm missing so much from it, because I want so much more about the information and the way they operate and stuff. But then also because of that scene with Ziegler, whatever his name is, and the way he explains it, it also means that we don't need any more. So I kind of feel very, I don't know. I want more, but I also don't.
Yeah, but it's kind of like Tom Cruise. He wants. There's a certain point in the film where he wants access to that cult, but he can't, get fully in. I remember the first time watching it, I was like, I want to figure out who all these kind of people are, what their standing in society is, and how this cult operates or works. But then you kind of realize that it's you're in Tom Cruise's position of not having access to this higher class, higher society. But yeah.
Cool. Okay. I feel like we did this movie
adequately.
Pretty decent justice.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if we really got to the heart of what Kubrick's doing, but I don't know if anyone ever really has. So, I don't feel too bad about that. All right. Out of 10, Fitzy, you go.
I'm gonna give it a 10 out of 10. Well, I call it a masterpiece. I'm not to give it a 6, but I don't know. I just think it's brilliantly shot, and a lot of stuff is happening, and I don't know. I love it. So yeah, what do you guys think?
I'm gonna give it. I don't know. I feel like giving it an A is a bit low, but I feel like that's where I lie with it. I think it's brilliant. Probably I don't know. I think there are just that there are some minor issues that I would appreciate to be ironed out. And like I've said in previous weeks, to kind of push it that bit further to get that 10 and that 9, it needs to leave me with that feeling. And it didn't really have too much of an impact on me afterwards. It definitely stuck with me. I mean, and it's the way because the dream stuff and things discussed in Cult and all that, it stuck with me. But it didn't have the impact I was looking for, so 8 out of 10 for me.
Cool. I'll give it a 7. I really liked it. I was generally entertained by it. I would recommend everyone check it out. But yeah, it's not something, I don't think it'll really stick with me for long. I appreciate the conversation we have. and the fact that it can be discussed in the way we did discuss it, and there is clearly depth to it. But at the same time, though, aspects of it, whether they were very artistically deliberate or whether they were just oversights after Kubrick's death, who knows? We'll never know which way it went. But nonetheless, aspects of it didn't vibe with me, like the editing, like the acting at times as well. So yeah, I'll give it a 7. I liked it.
Fitzy, where's this rank for you in terms of Kubrick?
I was just going to ask that to you. Well, I haven't seen 2001 in a while, but this and 2001 are definitely my favorite Kubricks. I think, yeah, they're far above the other ones I've watched. But yeah, I don't know which one I'd say is better. But these two are like top tier. What about you?
For me, I think it go 2001, Full Metal Jacket, The Shining, and then Eyes Wide Shut.
Okay. I was never big on Full Metal Jacket.
I think Full Metal Jacket was the first Kubrick film I saw. Actually, no, it's a lie. 2001 was, but I love Full Metal Jacket so much. I think it's brilliant. Yeah.
This was my first Kubrick experience. Now I've got to dive in to these other crazy experiences that he's given us over the years.
Well, I've got the Stanley Kubrick film collection, so if on Fridays, once we run out of Star Wars, we can start piping those out.
Feels like Star Wars will never end. Yeah, cool.
I really want to watch Barry Lyndon, though.
That's you can kind of have.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's right. But, the whole naturalistic lighting thing I was talking about, you can really, see that in Barry Lyndon, and, yeah, I'll watch that.
All right. News chat, dry as ever. I feel like when we get to this part of the show, I feel like I'm just getting into the Desert Oasis section where we just have to kind of drive through this until we get to the good stuff. But anyway, what do we got? The Academy has said that the Oscars will be delayed, and they will now happen on the April 25th of 2021. The eligibility window has also been increased to allow other films to scrape in time early next year for consideration. So, yeah, cool. I mean, I felt like this is kind of inevitable, but,
Yeah, we're just... It feels like we're, reading inevitable kind of news each week, in a way.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to reading Hell is Frozen Over in a few weeks. Next up, we got Palm Springs trailer. Jaden, Hulu series, apparently? Tell us more.
Nah, not series, just a film.
My apologies, I assumed series immediately when you said Hulu.
Troglodyte. It stars well, it's about it's a time loop situation, but it's a comedic one. So it stars Andy Samberg and Kristen Milotti. I think that's how you say her name. I'm not really too sure. And yeah, I mean the trailer just shows a trailer dropped for it, and it just pretty much shows, I don't know, standard stuff. It looks pretty funny. I don't know. I don't really have too much more to say on it. I think Andy Samberg's a pretty good comedy actor, so I'm keen for it.
Oh yeah, he's good. Yeah.
It took me. I mean, kind of on a side note of Samberg, it took me so long. Do you guys remember that video? It was a music video for a parody song called "Throw It on the Ground."
No.
I think so. It rings a bell.
It's 6 or 7 years old or something like that. I think probably more, to be honest. I didn't realize that was Andy Samberg, and it wasn't until I rewatched it this year that I saw it. I was like, oh wow. Yeah.
Is that the one? What did you say it was called?
Threw It on the Ground, or On the Ground, or just something like that. And he just oh, it's so funny. I don't know. We'll review that next week.
Absolutely. We can add meme review to the end if you want.
Yeah.
I think I've seen one with Bill Hader and Samberg where they're they're constantly shooting each other. And have you seen that one where they're
Yeah, I think they're part of the same it was a small comedy group that they had a few years ago.
Yeah.
Finally, I'll bring it up just because I wrote here, Kristen Stewart is playing Diana in a film called Stewart, which is definitely not true. The
No, it's
film's
called
called
Spencer.
Spencer, I believe
Yeah.
you told me, yes.
I was like, what?
I just love that I'm such a dumbass to write that. So yeah, that's happening. It's kind of weird. Have you guys seen the other Diana movie where Naomi Watts plays her? Yeah, that movie exists. Yeah. I don't know where I was going with that. I was thinking, maybe I was about to lay some thoughts on you about it, but then I realised I don't actually have any opinion because I don't remember it. So
the
crazy.
director of Spencer is Pablo Larraín. I haven't seen any of his other films, but he's pretty acclaimed. I think his most famous film's called Neruda. It came out 4 years ago now. I think he's pretty well known for doing biopics. He also did Jackie, the one with Natalie Portman.
Yes.
Yeah, so I mean, like, it makes sense that this is his next. I mean, it doesn't make. I don't know. I guess we'll see. He's known for this type of stuff, so.
Why is it called Spencer? Is that like a middle name or some shit?
No clue. Maybe the name of a driver.
We'll find out. Wow, that'd be funny. Okay.
Would it be funny, huh? That's
It would be hilarious. It'd be hilarious. Alright, what have we been watching? Fitzy, you go.
Well, I saw the first half of Artemis Fowl, and I turned it off. It was arse.
You were so keen last week.
I might finish it this week. Just out of voyeurism, I guess.
Sure.
But I also saw Brazil. I finished Brazil today, and have you guys heard of Brazil?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Yeah, it's a country. Yeah.
Semi-D internet soccer.
Right. It's directed by Terry Gilliam, the same guy who did Monty Python. And I really loved it. It's kind of this Orwellian dystopia kind of thing, and it blends that with like fantasy. It's the main character is the guy who played the thing in Game of Thrones, the High Priest or whatever. And
Jonathan Pryce, yeah.
Right, yeah, I think so. And it's just about like he has these dreams, these fantasies of this woman where he's like flying around in the clouds and stuff, and then he sees her in real life, and through a like hilarious stream of like bureaucratic errors, this person called Buttle gets like wrongfully imprisoned and like killed instead of Tuttle, this guy called Tuttle, this terrorist guy. And he basically sees her in real life and wants to help her do correct the injustice basically. And it's basically just like a comedy of bureaucratic incompetence, and it's really it's the set design is super unique. There's like an invasion of technology in it. It's like big tubes and big wires everywhere, and it's kind of like a surveillance state in a way, but everyone just it's really hard to describe, but it's an extremely unique movie and quite brilliant. I really love that as well. So yeah, that's all I watched this week.
Now, you say you finished it today. How often do you like split movies when you're watching them?
Hardly ever, really. I had like a lot of assignments this week. Is pretty much why.
Jaden allows it.
No, it's just because like in the past when we've been talking, like just like even the films we watched that week, I feel like you've mentioned started there, finished it here, and whatever. I was just curious whether that's a common occurrence.
No, it's not.
Yeah, I don't think David Lynch would be too happy.
Did you guys see that video? That person?
Oh, it was great. It was great. All right, but we're not there yet, though. What about you, Jaden?
What did I watch this week? Well, we started off with this Japanese film called Watcher in the Attic. It's got a few different titles. I think in English it's called Watcher in the Attic is like the English title, but like it's the international title in Australia. I think it's called like Stroller in the Attic. Super weird. I don't know. It was kind of like the description that I read for it made it sound more like a psychological thriller type of thing. about a man who slowly loses his sanity. But it's definitely not. That's all I really want to talk about that.
Okay.
I watched the second Zombieland. People didn't like it too much, but I think it. I mean, if you like the first Zombieland, it's pretty much the same thing. That's not a criticism. I mean, like the first Zombieland's great. I mean, like I think it might be a bit. I mean, I think that there are some. There's more jokes that don't land, and it is a bit. Pacing is a bit more off, but I think like it's still pretty much the exact same thing.
Right. Okay.
A few short films. A Short Vision is probably a good one to mention. It's a 1956 animated short film about, and it's kind of like a PSA about nuclear war and like what's going to happen if it does occur. Because like 56 was like kind of like the height of the Cold War and nuclear terror and that type of thing. That was really really good. But the highlight
Was
of
it
the
like a
week,
legitimate PSA?
not really a PSA so much, but it was made by some English people, and yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
Really really good at animation because it's pretty much just paintings, and but it's really nice. The highlight of the week though was All Quiet on the Western Front. Um, just absolutely superb in every aspect. It's so phenomenal and so saddening and soul crushing and devastating and unbelievably. I don't know. It just leaves you empty because like it's like cause, like the first scene is probably one of the most heartbreaking for me personally. Even though like it's one of the most it's just the first scene. But it's of like a teacher telling all his students to go to war to protect the motherland. That it's glorious and it's grand and it'll only be a few months and you'll be fine and you'll be heroes and whatever. And it's just so tragic knowing that this story of grandeur was sold to everyone. Because I mean, like living in Australia, we're obviously always told about the Anzacs and how they were brought over there, and like they use a similar technique down here to get our young people to enroll, to enlist, of go visit the world, travel this, do that, and to know that this was employed worldwide to send young people to their death really sucks. And and like the fact that it's 90 years old and we still fall into the same patterns is just tragic. And I mean, like aside from like thematically, like it is a really really brilliant film. I mean, it bears some really like good technical shots and the acting is really like decent as well for a 1930s film. And effects. I mean, like they had like shit blowing up like all around the actors.
Oh, cool.
And like no CGI or whatever. So I mean, like good on them as well. Really is really really truly brilliant.
You got me interested for sure. I watched dude, I did nothing but finish Black Sails, and holy shit, man. Well, can I dedicate a section every week? We need to get a campaign going, okay? Hashtag watch Black Sails. People have never heard of this show. This show's phenomenal, and I loved every goddamn second of it. More people need to see it. Watch Black Sails, man. That's all. That's all there is to it. Just watch it. I absolutely loved it. One of my favorite shows I've ever seen. Just phenomenal writing, and more than anything else, it's the characters. The characters just are so well realized in the script, so well realized by the actors. The performances are phenomenal, and every scene feels so, in a way that I've never seen in a show before. It feels so perfectly like everyone understands exactly who these people are, and the dialogue is so true to every person. It felt like they didn't, take a second off with writing a single line for these people. And yeah, no, I loved it. Loved it absolutely. Great story. Watch Black Sails. It's on Stan in Australia. Please.
Pretty visually dense, would you say?
Very visually dense. So much going on in every frame. No, but in all seriousness though, some great set pieces as well. I mean, that's definitely not the heart of the show, but no, considering it's a show that is criminally underrated, as far as I've been able to tell, since finishing it, for the first time, I was actually kind of looking stuff up about it online and shit. I hadn't done that to avoid spoilers, and yeah, from what I can see, it just seems so underrated, and yeah, it has not got the attention it deserved.
I thought it.
For sure.
I thought it got quite. Didn't it get quite a lot of appraisal? It just wasn't like that widely known. Is that?
Yeah, widely known. Yeah,
Yeah,
people that
that's
have seen it
more.
absolutely love it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It needs to be widely known though. The fact that it's a shame that Game of Thrones is so well known and the show isn't, because this show in a lot of ways, I mean, I think objectively it's better than Game of Thrones, 100%. I feel like that's pretty hard to deny, honestly. But yeah, watch Black Sails. That's all I got. So that means it's time to get into our listener submitted comments for last week's question. We're doing this 2 days earlier than normal, so I apologise. We've got a secret CIA operation to attend on our regular recording time.
You gotta
So
do
that's
a cult.
No, hang on. Yeah, I was trying to give a cover story.
Yeah.
Yeah, the cult. Oh,
Yeah. Tom Cruise's sex cult.
So anyway, what am I trying to say? I'm trying to say is that any comments at any time will always be read. If they're not read this week, they'll be read next week. I apologise in advance. Okay. Lachlan wrote into us and said, I'm honestly not bothered with watching a movie on my... I didn't even introduce the question, dude. I always stuff something up. The question was, do you care about watching movies on your phones? Lachlan said, I'm honestly not bothered with watching a movie on my phone.
Cheers,
Pretty straightforward. I appreciate the simplicity. Henry wrote in and said, I think watching a movie on your phone is basically heresy unless you're watching a movie for the express purpose of turning your brain off, like watching an Adam Sandler movie, which is pretty much already a crime against cinema. Yo, this guy ain't seen Uncut Gems. Just saying. I have nothing against watching a TV series on your phone, however. I know I've watched a couple of episodes of Brooklyn Nine-Nine on the bus and I was still able to digest everything going on screen. You've opened up an interesting can of worms there, Henry, with the TV series. Now, I don't really get this. So, you can allow a TV series, but use Brooklyn Nine-Nine as an example, which is, of course, a sitcom. Fair enough. Are you saying that you don't mind comedies? Watching them on your phone? Because I can allow that. But I feel like watching Black Sails on your phone is like equivalent to watching Eyes Wide Shut on your phone. So,
I mean, watching Eyes Wide Shut on your phone would just be awkward. I mean, if you're on the bus, I mean,
that's a solid argument right there. That's a solid argument. But yeah, so I don't know. How do we feel about this? I know I personally don't really care.
Well, is the question like, do you think, like morally, that you think other people should, or what do you?
No, it's just you. No,
right.
We're not here playing control over other people. Here, they can do it. Everyone can do what they want.
Well, I don't, because I mean, like, if I need convenience, I'll just watch something on my computer, or like, I feel like, in theory, if a movie doesn't have anything that's too, like, visually interesting, watching on your phone is fine. You're not missing out on much in that way. Like Henry said, like something like Brooklyn Nine-Nine, which, I mean, I haven't seen it, but looks like it's quite, plainly, it's based on the dialogue, so you can just get that out of it. But I don't really do it anyway, so yeah.
Before you answer, Jaden, I just wanted to point out that I'm really disappointed that I didn't take the chance. You said that it'd be awkward to watch Eyes Wide Shut on your phone. How did I not think to counter with it would also be awkward to watch Black Sails on your phone? For the same reasons. Anyway, you go, Jaden.
I don't know. I think I kind of fall with Fitzy, where I was like, I won't do it, but like, if you're gonna do it, sure, go ahead. But I'm I mean, like the reason people watch films on their phone primarily is for convenience sake, for when they're on the bus or when they're going somewhere in the car and they're just passenger or whatever. But I feel like if you're in that role, I mean, there's better things to do than watch movies on your phone. I mean, that can wait till you actually got like a decent thing to watch it on. Like listen to music, listen to podcasts. Yeah, podcasts.
Hell yeah, baby. Nice one.
Play games on your phone, whatever. There's better things to do when you're on the bus and when you're traveling somewhere than to watch a film. I mean, like I said, like knock yourself out if you want, but I just personally wouldn't do it. And I mean, like, I guess like it kind of comes up with, because I mean, like, if you have like shit headphones, then like I wouldn't watch it on like iPad, laptop, or anything either. I just wait till I can watch it with a good sound system. But I guess if you've got like a decent headphone that has like that picks up like a wide range of everything, you can listen properly. I mean, maybe if sounds like what's important to you, maybe go ahead. But if you're watching something visually dense, I don't think you're going to appreciate all the details. when you're watching on an iPhone.
Yeah. Also, like, I mean, if it's a quick bus trip, you're gonna see like 10 minutes of it, or like, not much of it. I mean, maybe if you're on flights and they have stuff. I mean, watch movies, but if you want, but if you want,
Even like watching on planes though, like there's kind of like this subcategory that's been created by people of like plane films, like because you don't want to watch, you don't want to watch Eyes Wide Shut on a plane. You want to watch something like a bit lighter and something that can just pass the time more type of thing. So I feel like it also does depend on the content, like Henry pointed out.
I guess so. I do have an issue with that though, where do you draw the line? Oh, that's acceptable by definition to watch on a phone, and that isn't. It's just kind of, and especially without even having watched it, how do you draw that line? I feel like you've got to take a stance of everything's acceptable and nothing is.
Well, then, like my opinion is nothing is then.
I get you. I would never watch a movie on my phone if I had another option. But you know what? Whatever. Honestly don't really think it matters that much, to be perfectly honest. I think that, sure, ideally, I'd always prefer to watch a movie on a TV or a proper screen or anything, but at the same time, I think films kind of engross us anyway, and I find anyway, if I'm watching something on a smaller screen, you kind of just forget where you are anyway, so...
It's about the cinema experience as well, though. I mean, like, if you're, midday in a car, sun blaring through your window, reflecting off your screen, and you have to hold your phone in front of you, and you have to keep it up, and it's more than just watching a film. It's all these other factors that combine to diminish your experience.
It's true. That's true.
And you've got the radio going. You've got people chatting around you. You've got the road noise. It's shit.
No, you're right. Absolutely. And the worst one is the sun, when you're like trying to maneuver the screen so it's like in the shadows. That's trash. Yeah. All right. Good question. Charlie also wrote into us about The Last Samurai following up last week. He said, I think another point to make is, this is of course about The Last Samurai, go and check out that episode, is that the Native Americans were destroyed by the colonial Americans, and that is then reflected in Japan. The samurai were going to be destroyed by this new idea and revolution of industry and civilization. So Nathan, Tom Cruise, didn't want to make the same mistake twice. That's entirely accurate. That's entirely true. Which of course very much played into the entire themes of The Last Samurai, which we discussed last week. Go and check it out on podcast services, Spotify, YouTube. Give it a like. I just wanted to read that out to remind everyone that you can write anything into the show and I'll read it. Just a friendly reminder. No pressure.
Really? Because there's another comment there that you're not reading. Jellybeans commented saying, wow, did Jaden hit puberty while I'm away? His voice is so deep.
Oh, that's right.
Wow.
Well, I thought I would spare you that one, but I mean, you did it to yourself, so.
Yeah, I mean, you promised to read out all comments, so I just felt like I was doing I was fulfilling on your promise, so.
Touche.
I will admit that last week when we started at the start of the podcast, your voice did seem deep for some reason.
Did it?
To me it did.
Okay.
I think it just depends on like how fast I talk and how into it I am. I don't know.
Sure.
Because I mean, like, I can go deeper if I want.
All right. Yeah, your voice sounded a bit weird there, Zach.
I apologise. We better wrap this shit up then. Thanks for tuning into Cinema Effect for this week. Thank you. What are we watching next week, Fitzy?
I think we're doing Matrix Revolutions.
That's correct, yes.
And it's on everything. Stan, Foxtel, Netflix. So, no excuse this time. Again, you guys seem to keep coming up with excuses, but I mean, it's available. So yeah.
Dude, I'm so excited to watch this movie. I'm like too excited. I can't wait. Holy shit, it's going to be a blast. Jump on the Matrix train with us. All our social media links are in the YouTube description as always. Next week's question reminder is, give us a film that is well regarded that you don't like. Submit it in the comments. We'll read it. Jane and Fitzy, thanks once again for your time this week.
Cheers.
Thank you.
And we'll see the rest of you next week. Have a great week, rest of your week, and goodbye.